All set?
Yes, we are.
All right. Well, first thing I wanted to do was to welcome everybody. I really commend everyone for continuing their education about essential oils, and that's really the way we learn how to do things is by learning as much as we can. And we're looking forward to doing a lot more of these calls to make it as convenient as possible for everybody to get the information they need. So again, whether you're on live or you're listening to the recording, I just want to welcome you and commend you for continuing with your the education you need to have a healthy lifestyle. And we have a wonderful speaker this morning. Most of you know Tanya. She's part of my upline and a great help. And Tanya and her mom have led lifestyles like this for a long time. And so they have a lot to offer us in their thoughts. And I'm excited to get started on this particular topic of cleansing. So Tanya and I are going to kind of go back and forth a little bit and talk about a lot of the different things that doTERRA has to offer and support us in trying to keep our bodies nice and free from toxins and that kind of stuff. So anyway, Tanya, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Nancy. Well, and for those of you who don't know Nancy, she's actually a certified holistic health coach. Is that right? Is that your correct title?
That's it.
Yes. So she, like myself, has a passion for health and wellness and has been teaching these principles for a very long time. And so it's great to have her part of the team and being able to share her input and expertise as well. So this is definitely something that we're both really passionate about, is helping people get healthy. And so, but, as a disclaimer here, obviously we are not doctors. We're not here to diagnose anything that you may have or treat or cure it. That's something that is not our responsibility. However, what we're here for is really just to educate and empower you. So if you have any questions or concerns that have to do with a certain health situation that you have, then make sure and consult your doctor, because again, we're here to share our experiences and what we know, but it's important that you educate yourself and make sure you're asking the right questions to the right people. So with that in mind, we'll go ahead and get started. And like Nancy said, we'll kind of bounce back and forth on some of this. But, I thought this is kind of funny to show pictures in the beginning. Have you ever felt like this before, or had these types of feelings where you just feel fatigued and tired? And I think in this rushed world that we live in, I encounter so many people feeling like this throughout the day, just overloaded and stressed and just tired, right? But yet we all want to feel like this. We want to feel like this as we get older and we age. We want to have health and vibrancy, and we want to feel great. We want to feel great about ourselves, and we want to age in a way that we can accomplish more as we get older. But there is a way to do that, and a lot of people think that just because you hit a certain age point, it's your body starts to slow down. You don't have that energy and vitality. But the reality is we can experience good health and vitality at any age if we are taking care of our bodies and if we know how to do that. So we're really here to share some of the principles and the tools and ways to do that through the form of a cleanse. And we'll give you some of those protocols and suggestions based on, again, our experience to help you to experience this life of abundance and health and being more happy with how you feel. So at this point, I'll turn this over to Nancy, and she's going to touch on this wellness lifestyle.
I think we've all seen this before. I love this chart because it's so true to what the situation is with our health, true to what we need to pay attention and what we need to do. So I just love this. And today, obviously, we're going to be talking about reducing toxic load, but no one of these things stands alone. We have to pick away at all of them. Eat right is that big one at the bottom. And that's important. And part of the way we eliminate some of our toxic exposure is by eating right too. And exercise is also a natural thing in terms of helping the body to rid itself of toxins. And obviously rest and managing stress as well. So all of this is important. But today we're going to be talking about toxic load. So let's go on to the next slide.
All right. So signs that you may be toxic and need to properly cleanse. There's quite a list here, and this probably is not everything. But a lot of times we think, and part of what stood out to me on that chart, or what I've learned, is that a lot of people problem solve with their health issues at the top levels, where they're looking at the surface. And in this fast-paced world of, kind of that ambulance mentality where we want to have the quick fix and we want an immediate result, how many times do we stop and look at what we're experiencing and go, you know what, maybe I need to be drinking more water, or maybe what I'm eating is giving me this result, or, this type of issue that I'm experiencing could be that my body needs to actually cleanse. By the way, if you have any background noise or have anything going on in the background, if you can just hit the little mute button on your screen, that way we can keep the line free and clear.
Hit the little mute button on my screen.
There's a little mute button on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. It should have a
Nope.
microphone there.
Nope, no mute button.
Okay. There should be somewhere on there. I don't know if you have a phone or if you have a computer that you're using.
Okay.
There should be a little button that you can mute. Otherwise, it's okay. We'll just try to be as careful. Sounds really clear though right now. So, but anyway, so going back to this list, I think it's important that we look at these things, and a lot of times people will come to me and, what do you use for this? And of course, I'm a huge advocate for essential oils and how they can help support the body and health and elimination and things that we're trying to address. But it's also important to look at, well, if you're having maybe allergies, or if you're having hormonal imbalances, you're having headaches, then it could be a sign that your body needs to cleanse. And so look at those signals that you're experiencing and instead problem solve by thinking of, maybe this is my body's sign that I need to do a cleanse and a detox. So one of the things I also like to mention when it comes to, and I say this all the time, cleansing, is a lot of people think of, their cars and how, or a lot of people know their cars and how every 3 months or 3,000 miles you need to change the oil filters on your car. But yet we don't think about that with our own bodies. We have our bodies, which are our vehicles in life to get us where we want to go. And yet how often do we think about cleansing and filtering the organs that actually support us and help us to feel and eliminate properly. And so cleansing is a really, really important part of experiencing good health and wellness.
And when we look at what are toxins? Well, toxins are a variety of different things that inhibit the body's ability to be healthy. I mean, in the simplest form. But there are lots of ways that we run into these, and lots of types of things. The three general categories here, pathogens, chemicals, and radiation, just give us an idea on the surface. The pathogens are those things like the bacteria and the so on that we might get in our food, or we get through our skin exposure. And chemicals, unfortunately, chemicals are in everything, and it's very difficult. And radiation is another one. So it's not a very simple thing. We have to kind of watch out for all of these different areas. So let's go to the next slide, because it will tell us a little bit about the pathways. So how do they get into our body? Well, through the GI tract, obviously, when we eat things or drink and that kind of stuff. And then lungs, what we breathe. So I was looking at that picture earlier, of the radiation and looking at the smoke from the smokestack, and that's a pollution. I mean, we breathe it in all the time. I know when I'm going out for my walk in the morning, I like to walk on the streets around my house that are not the busiest streets, because if I walk down one of the main streets, I always feel like I'm breathing in car exhaust. So, you know, it's all sorts of ways. And our skin is also amazingly, it's protective in many sense. Obviously, that's what it's there for. But there are a lot of things that have particle sizes that are small enough, you know, nanoparticle sizes, that they can absorb through our skin. And so a lot of the skincare products, brand X kind of thing, are really a problem in terms of, you know, your exposure. And you don't tend to think about it because you think of your skin as a barrier, but there are some things that we have to watch out for. So the first thing, you know, the story of the guy who's out there in the boat and it's filling with water, and what does he do? And he starts to bail frantically. And, you know, the suggestion is always, it would be great to fix the leak first, if you can, because to stem the tide of what's coming in. So one of the first things that you have to do is to look at how you're being exposed to toxins and how can you reduce that exposure. So that's the first step. So.
Yes, and actually one of the great things that we have in doTERRA is opportunities to do this in a very natural way with natural clean ingredients, excuse me. So when we look at things like lemon essential oil, this is one that I use in my home all the time. It's an essential oil that's very good at helping to protect against microbes and kill pathogens and things like that. And so I use it in my cleaning products, and there's a lot of different oils that will help with detoxifying and clean your home in a very natural way without using those toxic chemicals to clean with. And, you know, another little tip that I learned years ago is that if you wash even your produce, because especially if you're buying inorganic or non-organic, I should say, foods at the grocery store, and you have pesticides and things that are on those foods, you can wash those with a little bit of lemon essential oil in that water and wash that produce. But diffusing them and using them in different ways to, again, kind of cleanse the air and reduce that toxic exposure from cleaners that may be in your home is really, really important to reducing that toxic load. And obviously those in doTERRA who know our product line, we have a wide array of products that I feel are some of the cleanest ingredients, and we have lots of things to help support this idea of reducing our toxic load and exposure through more natural ingredients for our skin, for our bodies, and for our homes.
And number two, then, if you've tried to correct, you know, stem the tide of things that you're being exposed to in the first place, then the next thing is some of your, to build up the defensive functions in our bodies. And it makes, obviously this is a key thing to keep going. And one of the things we do is to fortify ourselves with nutrition. And one of the absolute daily things is the Lifelong Vitality. And you'll see the different, the three different components in Lifelong Vitality there in the form of the capsules and the soft gels. So the essential oils are actually nutrients, and they help to fortify that. That's the way they work. Instead of being like an insecticide or a, you know, something like that, which is to kill things, this is something that fortifies us nutritionally. And it requires energy. Our body needs good energy, and so we don't get that through our daily diets. And so just supporting your body with the right nutrition is a huge step. And you'll see as we go forward in the presentation that there are a lot of things that support the liver, and that's if you're going to support an organ, that would be one to support. The liver is a big deal. And this is familiar to you because these are the three parts of the Lifelong Vitality: the Alpha CRS, the XE Omega, and the Microplex VMZ. So this is the baseline. I think this is where you start. So
Exactly. Yes, it really is a baseline, and it is very important in when it comes to cleansing. And I learned this from one of my mentors who I admire her expertise, Laura Jacobs, is that we really have to fuel ourselves and give ourselves the defense fortification that we need when cleansing. A lot of people go into doing a cleanse, and when you're losing weight or when you are trying to cleanse, you're actually your body's creating an excess amount of free radicals. It's releasing those. And so you really need to fortify yourself so you don't get terribly sick. You're getting the proper nutrition that you need. So this is a foundational item. This is something that I take, Nancy takes every single day. And it's one of the best supplements that I found to really give us everything that our body needs to support itself from a nutritional standpoint. Of course, there's other things too, and we'll talk about some of those, but this really is the foundation. So let's talk about each one of these. Microplex MVP, this is a whole food nutrient complex. So this is basically your multivitamin, 22 vitamins and minerals, a whole foods blend. It has a tummy tumor blend to make it easy to digest and absorb. And it really is that, like I said, foundation of nutrients that is actually formulated according to where we live here in the States and the food supply that we actually are deficient in. One of the things that I learned also in the past is that there's two ways that the body gets out of balance. The first is too much toxicity, and the second is deficiency. So it's one of the two things. We don't just end up with disease just because. we have disease, we have imbalances in the body because of those two things, is we're either deficient or we're toxic. And so if we look at this is part of helping with supporting the deficiency issue, because we are, especially here in the US, we're not getting the proper nutrients that we need from the foods that we're eating. Whether we're eating organic or not, our food supply is definitely deficient in those vital nutrients. And so making sure that we supplement is very, very important to help us to be sufficient in these nutrients that our bodies need. And then the other part of the toxicity, which again we'll touch on. Nancy talked about the XE omega, which is our essential fatty acids that we all need, our omega-3s. And here in the US, they say that we are the ratio of omega-3s versus omega-6s, which are not so good fats, is right now it's 1 part omega-3s to 6 parts omega-6s. So we're getting an excess amount of those bad fats and not enough of those good fats. And so it's really important that we have a really good omega-3 supplement, which they actually, doTERRA has one that is a fish oil formula, and then there's also a vegan formula for those who don't prefer the fish oil. And it also has astaxanthin, which is natural. It's an algae that actually turns red when exposed to sunlight, and it's a natural preservative within this XE omega, along with some of the essential oils that really help to support immune function, digestive function, as well as inflammation in the body. To really support healthy inflammation and joint function. So a lot of different things that this is very supportive of. And then also our Alpha CRS, which is our cellular vitality complex, which contains all of our antioxidants and things to really support good cell health, to help replicate good healthy cells. So again, it's one of these key ingredients, especially as we age, we need more of this. Doctors encourage us as we get older, we need more antioxidants. We really need to fortify ourselves against those free radicals. So this is a great product to do that.
Okay, and before I talk about number 3, I wanted to mention too that a lot of times with the oils that we can get commercially, they are really not in a form that we can digest them. Our body can't take them in very easily, so their bioavailability is pretty low. And uniquely, doTERRA's has, with the essential oils and so on, has an emulsifying characteristics. So in other words, it's being presented in a form where your body can take it in. And so it has a very high bioavailability. So the Lifelong Vitality is amazing. It really is. It's there to help us get the job done. And then number 3, support elimination functions. You know, the body has this hugely wonderful system that can take care of a lot of things. It's really well designed and it operates very well, but it has to have the nutritional support. And we just, unfortunately, we don't get it very much in today's world. So even if we eat pretty well, so we need to support that. And again, remember that the oils work in nutritional ways, and the body is they're very friendly to the body welcomes them in, and so it's definitely the way to go, to just support those systems that are already there. So we have lots of different pathways. I mean, it goes on and on, but the primary things are the intestinal tract and the urinary system. And so we want to keep that functioning real well. And of course, that also has to do with your general diet as well, to keep things clear and running, so to speak.
Yeah.
And then obviously the skin, you know, we forget about that. Sometimes when I do a cleanse, I'll have like a little dry patch or maybe a little rash area or some indication that my skin is trying to get rid of stuff. And it's amazing. It's really wonderful when you finish your cleanse to have that feeling, you know, your skin is clear, your complexion clears up a lot. It's amazing. But the skin is one of the ways that that our body eliminates things. And then obviously the respiratory system as well.
Right, exactly. And just touching on that too, whenever I have someone that comes to me that asks, well, I have this type of a skin issue, or my daughter is having these type of skin issues, the first thing I think of is not just to apply something topically. It's usually an internal issue. If we can correct what is going on inside or help support what's going on inside, then you'll see the skin automatically start to clear up. And I've seen that in so many different instances, not only myself, which I used to have a lot of skin issues as I was younger, and even into my adulthood. I experienced lots of frustrating issues with my skin. And I found that the more I cleanse, the cleaner it is. And I love the feeling of after I cleanse and what my skin looks like and actually clearing up. So if we can really focus on those primary pathways, which are our liver, kidneys, and our colon, and we'll talk more about that, then we'll see those secondary pathways not be so expressive. We're not going to be seeing, you know, lots of skin eruptions or things that we may experience. Of course, they will still continue to, you know, eliminate, but it's not going to be as much as maybe we're experiencing right now as far as things showing up that we don't want there. So in order to support that optimal elimination, like I said, we want to ensure those primary pathways are supported and really functioning optimally, and that they're flowing, right? We don't have a backup, we're not overly toxic, so that we don't have to have the expression of some of those secondary chimneys. So two of the best things that we can do to support our GI tract are these two products, Zendocrine and Terrazyme. And I'm going to touch on each of these because these are two of my very favorite products. I have a lot of favorite things, but I will tell you, these are two of my very favorite products, and I use them daily, and I'll tell you why. So our GI tract, an interesting thing, so this is our intestines. When you look at the surface area of our GI tract, it's equivalent to that of a tennis court, which is pretty crazy to think of. We have a lot of intestines in there, and obviously our food, if you think about how much area that is, our food is moving around in those areas, and you can only imagine how, if that is not being cleansed, or if you're eating a lot of processed or cooked, undigestible foods, that's not going to move so well. And you're going to have blockages. You're going to have things not work as smoothly as they should if that area is not cleaned out and we're not digesting things. So, you know what, I realized I had this slide. So So basically, we look at these little, they call it villi or villi. I don't even know how to pronounce it, but it's in our intestinal tract. We absorb those nutrients. We're absorbing that oxygen. We're absorbing what our body needs, and so it's really important that if we're eating foods that are not do not have the enzymes, it's going to make our bodies work a lot harder. And so the Terrazyme is actually one of the best things to help support a healthy GI tract. It enables our foods, it helps to break down the foods that we're eating to be more assimilated, easily assimilated into the body, which affects all, the health of our body because we're absorbing the right nutrients. And so when you
Tanya,
look at, yes.
another thing too, as we get older, after the age of 30, our body doesn't produce the stomach enzymes, the variety of enzymes and the amount of enzymes that we had when we were a little younger. So there's kind of a downhill slope on those as we get older. So it is, I can't agree with you more. It is a crucial piece of keeping our digestive system operating at prime efficiency.
Correct. Our pancreas actually is responsible for a lot of that, enzyme production, helping to break down our foods, our nutrients. And so one of the things that I learned from someone who had studied patients with pancreatic cancer is that what they found is that their bodies have been deficient of enzymes. And so it's really, really important that we are giving our bodies sufficient amount of enzymes that, like you said, Nancy, where as we get older, our body starts producing less of them. And that's why we have issues with digesting certain foods, right? And all of a sudden you just can't tolerate milk anymore or certain things. And it's because you stop producing as many enzymes, especially if we're overtaxing our body with excess amounts of processed foods, things that our body can't digest, then that's going to be more of an issue as we get older. So having this digestive enzyme complex, which again is another whole food complex of enzymes, helps to break down different nutrients like our fats and our sugars, our proteins, lactase or lactose, I should say, a lot of different food nutrients that this helps to break down. So, and I think this is interesting to point out, those with gluten sensitivities, it actually has an anti-gluten enzyme blend to help support that if you have more sensitive tummy issues from eating gluten, or even help with lactose as well. So one of my good friends, and this is just a side note, but struggled a lot with gas and bloating, and had a really difficult time for many years. And she started taking this Terrazyme and has seen huge improvement by taking this on a daily basis. So this is something you can take with your meals, not only with any type of cooked meal. Now, if you're eating a salad, it's probably not as necessary. But if you have any type of cooked food, like a protein or any type of processed food, take that Terrazyme. You can also take it on an empty stomach. So especially when you're cleansing and you have, a buildup, and maybe you're trying to lose some weight and have some excess fats, or maybe some different inflammation going on. One of the things that taking an enzyme on an empty stomach will do is basically those enzymes go to work and look at what it can help break down that may be built up. And so doing it on an empty stomach is actually a really good idea, especially when you're cleansing. So not only with your meals, but even in between your meals. So this is one that usually when I'm going through a cleanse, I'll go through this a lot faster than if I am just doing it on a daily maintenance routine. Okay, so our pathways of elimination. Obviously, we talked about the liver, the kidneys, and the colon being our primary pathways of elimination, right? So we have we have our liver, which is kind of our primary pathway that all our toxins kind of get filtered through, and then that filters through to our kidneys and colon. So we really want to focus on our liver, which is king.
This is a great slide.
It really is, and I never knew and understood the importance of the role of the liver and how it is responsible for so many different functions in our body. And so it's vitally important that we take care of our liver. And they actually say that our liver is so important it can literally almost completely regenerate itself. So very, very important and crucial that we help to support that. So one of the best products to do that is actually called Zendocrine. And this obviously supports the filtering of all these different organs that we touched on. Very supportive of the liver, of course. And I kind of look at this as the janitor. So it's kind of the herbal complex that goes in. It kind of really helps to clean out and break down, that stored waste, those stored waste products. I remember a few years ago when I started taking this, starting to see really good results with it, with cleaning my skin. And I asked my friend Laura Jacobs what she thought about me taking this every single day, because I've heard, with cleansing, that's something you can do every quarter, which is something I try to do. But I was taking it daily, and I said, I've really felt that this has helped me. And she said, you can never do enough good for your liver. Take it every day. And so I've continued to take it every day, almost every day. And sometimes if I run out or whatever, because I go through it so quickly. But I do as much as I can. I take it every day, and it really helps to cleanse out those organs. And I've seen it really help to clean up my skin as a result. So this is not the same as the essential oil blend. I'll touch on this in just a second here, but just know that that's what I think of it as, is more of the janitor. Now, the Zendocrine oil blend, I look at as the repairman that goes in and kind of repairs and supports and really helps to support those different organs. So it's actually an essential oil blend. It comes in soft gels, and it's a blend of tangerine, juniper berry, cilantro, geranium, and rosemary, which all have different functions in helping to support the endocrine system. Okay, so if you were to again look at some of the benefits of it, which obviously again is helping to support that detoxification system, the endocrine system, things like tangerine, which actually replaced the old formula, which had grapefruit in it. Tangerine is very supportive of glutathione in the body, really helping to support that antioxidant function. Juniper berry is very, very supportive of the kidneys. It's one of the best things to help support the kidneys and people that have kidney issues, or if you have, dealing with kidney stones. Really helps to support the kidneys. And then cilantro, believe it or not, is actually one of the best for helping to remove heavy metals. So if you're wanting to really help against, if you have any type of heavy metal toxicity, cilantro is one of the best things. They say cilantro and parsley, which are actually close cousins, help to chelate heavy metals from the body. So it really is a great support to this function of these organs. Do you have anything to comment on those?
Yeah, I do. You were referring to Zendocrine as the janitor, and I think that's a great analogy, but I also like to call it liver love.
Yes.
Because it's really, when you look at the different oils like juniper berry or whatever it might be, and maybe you have the kit of 10 oils and you don't have all these oils, it's so great to know that when you're using Lifelong Vitality, you really get the whole picture. They've put all the things in there that that work so well. And I can't say strongly enough that taking care of your liver is a huge, huge deal. So that's really important.
Exactly. And by the way, I know we're throwing out a lot of things at the end. We will actually have a chart that helps to break down each one of these segments, how often or how much you're going to be using, as well as, you know, when you're going to be using them. So GX is part of that, and it's actually just part of the 30-day cleanse. It's only a 10-day process. This is a very, very powerful blend, again, to help with the GI cleansing. It has a variety of different essential oils, as you see here listed, that help to really support gut. And so if you're having some different gut issues, or again, just wanting to help with even things like an overgrowth of yeast in the body, this will really help to support that. Now, one side note of this is I know that for some people it can be a little bit more aggressive, and it can be, when I say aggressive, meaning that different people experience different things as they're going through this process, and be prepared for the changes that may take place in your body as you restore it back to balance. But one of the things that I found is with this particular product, you want to start gradually with it. Start with one per day and see how you feel, because it can sometimes be a little bit unsettling to the stomach. And really, when you're doing this cleanse, it's not anything that's going to be something you have to worry about. I know a lot of people kind of get nervous over cleansing and think that, oh, this is kind of a scary thing and I'll have to hang out at home all day. That's not necessarily true. And you won't find that with generally with this cleanse. When it comes to GX Assist, though, I always say start out gradual and kind of see how your body feels. And if you can increase the dosage as time goes on, then great. If you're comfortable with just taking the one a day and it's just, you know, somewhat unsettling to your stomach, then just, you know, kind of be aware of that. And of course, we want to help track your progress as you go along. The GI tract, another thing to note of this is that 70% of body's immune function is within the GI tract. So a lot of people think of, you know, our immunity as being, well, a lot of people don't think that our immunity is actually related to what's going on inside our digestive system. And so if we're getting sick often, or if we're having recurring maybe issues, we have to again look at our GI tract for the answers. And usually it's just telling us that we need to really strengthen our immune system and really help to support that digestive process. So part of that, and this is again another big piece of wellness, is supporting that intestinal microflora with that friendly bacteria. So this is really, really important that we're getting enough of that good friendly probiotics or good friendly flora to help to kill the bad stuff. You know, as we are exposed to those different pathogens, if we have enough of the good friendly bacteria, then we won't have to worry about, you know, what we may be exposed to as far as different bugs that come along, because we have that support. And some of the things that threaten that microflora actually are things like stress, obviously chemicals that we're exposed to, even certain prescriptions. If we're taking a lot of over-the-counter or different medications, of course, we know that threatens that microflora, especially typical antibiotics. When you take an antibiotic, and that's why it's really stressed after taking an antibiotic that you increase your amount of probiotics, because that really kills that good healthy microflora that our body needs to be in balance. And so very, very important to look at what kind of threatens that. And then of course, when we know, one of the ways that we know that our digestive system is compromised is if we are having digestive discomforts, you know, different aches and pains or challenges digesting, fatigue, no energy. And again, if we're falling sick too often, that is a sign that we have imbalance within that microflora. So
Tanya, I wanted to interject. The other thing is that it's kind of like the digestive enzymes, the microflora in the small intestine. is another area where age can, in addition to all these other onslaughts, age can have an effect too. So we really have to work at doing that. And when we talk about a lot of the immune system is in the gut, it's absolutely true, because, you know, we feel a cold coming on, and so we start to take things to try to fend it off and all that kind of stuff. Well, this is what you do to prevent it from happening in the first place. In other words, this is where it's all at, in my opinion, is, you know, keeping this in, keep this house in order, and then you're way ahead of the game. Then you're not going to expose, you know, it's going to be much more occasional when you have the colds and the flu. So I just want to encourage people that this is the place to start. Don't wait until, you know, build up the immune system. That'll set you in good stead.
Yes, exactly. Very, very important. That's my philosophy. I love being a part of a company that is their philosophy too. It's all about looking at the big picture wellness and the lifestyle, so that you don't have to look at what's going on the surface and those symptoms that you may be experiencing. So that is key. So basically the prebiotic, if you actually look at the capsules, it's kind of a cool little capsule. When I first saw it, I thought it was very unusual, but then I learned that there's actually a prebiotic bacteria or prebiotic in the initial, the kind of the clear part that you see. And then you have the probiotic. So basically both of those, the prebiotic actually supports just kind of the stomach. It goes through and helps to support the stomach and allows it to be able to pass through into the intestines and release that probiotic, which is where you actually want that probiotic. And so a lot of, this is actually a newer type of technology, I guess you would say. I don't know if technology is the word, but basically where they have a prebiotic and a probiotic built into that one capsule. So a lot of people will say, oh, I have this capsule that has, 50 billion probiotic PFUs, per capsule. And, you get it from the grocery store in the refrigerated section, you open it up and it's just white powder that just kind of falls all over the place. Well, what you don't really know is that most of that is actually killed off in those stomach acids. Right? And that's not where you want it. You don't want it necessarily in your stomach. You want it in your intestinal tract. And so if it's killed off in your stomach, then it's not really giving you what you need. And so that's why this prebiotic and probiotic is really, really important. So it goes through the stomach and allows it to pass through into the intestines. And then that green, backing up here, that green part that you see is actually chlorophyll, or it basically oxygenates. It sets the stage to be able to oxygenate the gut and allow that flora to thrive, which gut flora thrives in an aerobic environment or an oxygenated environment. And when it's not oxygenated, which our greens help to oxygenate, right? And so that's basically helping to oxygenate that environment so that good, healthy flora can grow and flourish.
And another thing, that clear liquid that's in the outer capsule that disperses in the stomach, it's a form of fiber, which the probiotics later which they feed on. So it's kind of like food for the probiotic. Yeah. And so the fiber makes it through. And then, of course, the smaller capsule opens in the small intestine, and it's just what you said. So it's really an ingenious little way of delivering pre and probiotics.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so there's, a lot of people want to know what type of bacteria is in it. It's obviously all there on the bottle, but here's just kind of a list of some of the things that are actually in the probiotic blend. And again, it has the 5 billion units, however they measure the probiotics that you're getting. And again, it's formulated in a way that your body can assimilate and use to its full potential of what your body really needs for a good, healthy digestive tract. All right, the final oil blend, and Nancy, I don't know, were you going to touch on this, the DDR Prime?
Okay. I can. DDR Prime is a really neat piece. It's basically cellular support kind of thing, but it's you can see the oils in it: frankincense, wild orange, doTERRA, lemongrass, thyme, and so on. You know, everything, I'm trying to think of the simplest way to explain it, but everything goes back to your cells. It's all, the common denominator in all of this is all those millions of cells in our body. And of course, we know that the cells will welcome the oils in through the cell barrier. And inside the cell is this mitochondria, our little energy factories that are toiling away all the time, both to two ways: energy, general energy to do things, but also the energy for repair of cells. So all of these cells have a shelf life and they're all replaced and so on. And so there's a constant demand for the nutritional levels that will support this process. And when, you know, it's kind of like if things go wrong with your whole cell health, you're in big trouble, because that's the building block of everything in our bodies. So I think the simplest way to explain this is the support that you need for that that process. So it's hugely important. So this would be a this, for me, this is a daily thing.
Yeah, definitely. It is. It helps to really fortify that cellular immunity, and especially the exposure that we have to free radicals, which are all around us in the foods that we eat, the air that we breathe, what we're exposed to on a daily basis. And really the EPA, actually the EPA says that we are in our world exposed to an excess of 80,000 chemicals on a regular basis. And that's a lot. When we're exposed to that many chemicals, and we really need that to have that cell support to fight those free radicals. And that's really what this helps to do, to strengthen that defense system within our cells. So the final thing I'll just mention here, and this is actually not part of our cleanse package, but it is something that a lot of people find super helpful, especially during weight loss or just helping to balance metabolism, as well as reducing fats, is called Slim and Sassy. And increasing energy. There's a lot of benefits to the Slim and Sassy, but it's definitely something that that we found really, really helpful in a regimen where you are trying to lose weight and you're trying to detoxify. Obviously, our toxins, again, like we said before, they kind of get stored in those fatty tissues in the body, where, you know, as we're trying to lose weight, we're producing excess amount of free radicals because those toxins are stored in our fat cells. And actually, typically where we find our fats is kind of around that midsection in our bodies, our hips, our thighs, those type of places, away from the vital organs of our body, right? That's what the purpose of the fats is, to kind of help, you know, tuck those little toxins away and those areas away from those vital organs. So as we want to help support that healthy release and detoxification of those toxins, Slim and Sassy has some of those oils to help to do that and to naturally detoxify, as well as a lot of other functions, which it basically helps balance our blood sugar levels, helps with our appetite, especially if we are dieting, helps to kind of manage and curb those cravings that we may have. And so it definitely supports, like I said, the detoxification of those toxins that we are releasing as we're losing weight. So finally, this is actually the 30-day cleanse program. Nancy, I don't know if you wanted to touch on this, but this is it all together.
I've sort of redone this and updated it, and I found some verbiage that I need to be clear about in there. So I'm going to do a little minor edit to this, and then I'll post it to Facebook or make sure that it's available to everybody, because this is the kind of thing that when I'm getting my supplements in order for the week, when I'm doing a cleanse, I have this up on the counter so that I can make sure I get it right and don't do the wrong thing. So I find the chart very handy to have, you know, to use. But it also, I think, gives you a visual. I like the way all of this is, you know, from doTERRA materials. And when they talk about the phases, the 3 phases, so that you can understand, you know, what the process or the protocol for the 30-day. And then on the left side, the pathways, and it shows how it's supporting those pathways, and it'll remind you of some of the things we've talked about today. And then just to, when you're wanting to make sure that you're doing the right number at the right time and all that kind of stuff, it's great to have that down in the chart. So I hope you find this as useful as I do. And again, I'm going to make a few little corrections in verbiage and then post it so that everybody can have the chart, because
Yes.
hopefully it'll be helpful to you too.
Yes, definitely. It is, and it's great to have kind of that chart to look at and see, okay, this is kind of when I want to start or stop this, and also see which products kind of work with those particular areas that you're wanting to address, right? With our gastrointestinal, our endocrine system, and our cellular health. They each address different things in this cleanse process. So
now, one of the things I wanted to talk about too a little bit is just to say that I think we all pay attention to our weight and to controlling things, and it is a huge, huge benefit to allow the body to shed pounds, extraneous pounds, when you cleanse. When you go through this process, basically you're pulling the toxins out and getting them through the elimination system so that you've rid them from your body, and it makes such a huge difference to your health, and eliminates a lot of that frustration where you're dieting and severely restricting yourselves in some cases, and you may even lose a few pounds for a while, and then it snaps right back on, and obviously the body's trying to defend you. It's keeping the fat as a hiding place for the toxins. So I can't stress strongly enough how helpful it is to think about, as part of your weight control or weight management, think about cleansing, because it's a huge part of that.
right. And like I was saying in the beginning, this is an ongoing thing. If we're thinking of our bodies as our vehicles to get us where we want to go in life, it's important that we think of this as an ongoing process and not just a one-time fix. And especially if you are dealing with a lot of things, or like myself, I for a number of years was on a particular over the counter to help with things that I was dealing with, and I know that I've needed to really help to support my liver with everything that I put in my body, and so I see this as something it's a maintenance. It's something that I want to do on a regular basis. Every quarter is usually what we recommend when we help to coach people on really getting healthy. Is think of this as a quarterly thing. Cleanse with the seasons, and then figure out a maintenance program for you when you're not cleansing. What types of things will help support you? Obviously, again, those foundational items. The doTERRA Life on Vitality Pack is something we use daily. The enzymes, again, very, very important. Probiotics, I mean, all those things that we talked about that you find will be really important for your foundational health is something that you can think of going forward. But in the meantime, if you're wanting to get started with this whole cleanse system, it's actually packaged in one of our enrollment kits. But if you're a doTERRA wholesale customer already, you can actually get this again as part of the kit and purchase it as a kit, because it's actually less by purchasing it as a kit than bought individually, which sounds pretty crazy, but that's the reason why they put it together in a kit, is to help discount the price and make it more affordable, because just a couple of those items in there, like the DDR Prime, it has a lot of the expensive oils in there, right? So it definitely, adds to the cost, but again, very crucial. And you can't really, in my opinion, put a price on health. And especially if you're thinking of it from a preventative standpoint, I'd rather be paying more now than pay more later on in life, a lot more experiencing right now through cost of healthcare. So for me, this is I can't put a price on my health. So with that, that's basically the total package. And if you would like to get started with that, if you are a wholesale customer, again, you have your wholesale account that you can go online and you can purchase it either through the Loyalty Rewards program or, you know, purchase it as a one-time order, and then get with whoever you either enrolled with, or if you have someone that you're directly tied to within doTERRA that can help to coach you on this. If you need any additional support, you're welcome to reach out to myself, Nancy, if she's someone that you work closely with, anyone else that may be able to help you. And obviously we want to be here to guide you as you're going through this process and make sure that you are finding some good results with it and increasing your water intake. That's really important as you're cleansing, to set the stage for a good, successful cleanse. So
first of all, I'd like to, before we finish up, I want to thank Tanya for doing this and giving us her expertise. And I love this PowerPoint. I think it's a great way to help us recognize the importance of all of this. And so I'm glad we're doing this. And thanks again, Tanya. I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
So I think that's all. Anybody have anything else?
Yeah, if we want to open it up for questions, if you have your line muted, definitely unmute your line. We are here to answer any questions for the next couple of minutes.
Tanya,
Yes.
you posted something on Facebook that was a schedule of upcoming seminars.
Yes.
And it is really small and the edges are cut off and I can't read it. Is that available anyplace else?
So on the Facebook page, yes, I actually do have a flyer that I can attach. Now, is that the only place that you saw it?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I will have to actually, I will have to pull that up and maybe send that to you individually if you're having a hard time seeing it.
Okay, thanks. I have another question.
Uh-huh.
About the time I started the cleanse, I'm not positive, I started passing a lot of gas.
Okay.
It wasn't what I expected. Is that normal?
So, and like I was saying before, everyone's going to have a different experience as you're cleansing, and that's part of the process. You know, is just knowing that it's going to be different for everyone. So just prepare for some of those changes that may occur. I would just say if you are experiencing that, make sure you're drinking lots of water. Continue to drink and increase your intake of water. If you're not drinking enough water, you can kind of experience some of those uncomfortable issues. So drink lots of water, and then maybe increase the Terrazyme. The Terrazyme and that will help to, again, facilitate. And that's one of the reasons why it's part of the full 30-day process. And you start that in the beginning to make sure that you're filtering and helping to clean out and detoxify, so you're not getting a backup or, you know, blockages. So.
Okay, thanks.
Yes. Any other questions here? No? Okay, yes, thank you, Michelle, for your comment and for sharing your experience. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, now if you have any other personal questions that you feel uncomfortable asking here, feel free to reach out to myself or Nancy, and we'll definitely be able to help you with those. Thanks to everyone for joining us. We really appreciate you being here, and look forward to hearing your results and successes. And we will be in touch soon.